I've been playing Blue Archive recently and I wanted to talk about it more because this game has captured my attention in a few surprising ways I wasn't expecting. First off, Blue Archive is a mobile gacha game developed by Nat Games, who's a company that is now under Nexon Korea. The global version of the game released on November 8, 2021, published by Nexon Korea. But Blue Archive actually came out in Japan earlier this year on February 4th, and that version is published by Yoastar. If you know other Yoastar games, then Blue Archive fits right in. I know some people have issues with Nexon, but so far they seem to be doing fine with the global release, and they've given us features that were added to the JP version from the start of the global release. Now, if you've been watching the footage of this game, you may have several questions, and I think that is part of the charm of Blue Archive. I'll talk about it more in a bit, but the world building of this game is fascinating. It's like they took the concept of Arknights' Laterano Sanctas, who are a race with angelic halos and are associated with guns in their world, but then they smashed that idea with the cute girls doing cute things genre. Unlike Arknights' more serious tone though, Blue Archive is a much brighter game. Before we dive into Blue Archive's setting and story, since it is a video game, what is the gameplay? Basically, you have a team of 4 on-field strikers and 2 special support units. Your strikers progress through a level under AI control, and the player can manually activate skills after charging up enough skill points. The strategy for harder fights comes down to knowing when to use each unit's skills. For example, for some situations I may need to hold on to Tsubaki's taunt because it can cancel an enemy's deadly skill of their own. If I use a team of low cost skills, then I can cycle through them faster, which can let me pop more heals from my tank. But you also have powerful skills like Hina's giant AoE machine gun fire, and that can take out entire waves, but it has a high 7 cost. Each unit will have a specific role, such as a tank, healer, supporter, and the main damage dealers. Additionally, these roles come with positions like front, middle, or back, which determine where the AI try to stand, and some units can even take cover, which reduces the amount of damage they take. Each character is associated with a certain attacking damage type and an armor type. The main idea is to bring a team with the advantageous damage type, but in a Fire Emblem weapon triangle way. You also have neutral matchups and then resisting disadvantageous matchups. Units then have terrain preferences where you can get smaller damage bonuses or damage reduction. You're gonna need to build units of varying types to handle different situations. While progressing through levels, you need to level up units with EXP items, upgrade their skills, and farm equipment of various tiers. The general PvE stage includes a set of 3-star conditions, and if you meet all those conditions, you can sweep a level for rewards without having to play it again. There is also a board game type puzzle aspect to later maps. You're going to have to move a team to certain tiles to trigger individual different battles. Early on, the system seems kind of pointless, but eventually you're going to need to have 2 teams on the map, and you're going to have to use certain strategies when moving on the board to clear all the 3-star conditions. If you're a fan of big raid boss type battles, then Blue Archive has that. Total Assault is a raid type mode where you have to take out the boss for rewards, and these have certain mechanics tied to them, while also requiring well-built units of each damage type. You can send in multiple teams to get the job done. Another mode is the Tactical Challenge PvP Arena. PvP involves AI controlled teams, and skill usage is also random. I think it's safe to say that PvP is not one of Blue Archive's main focuses because eventually everyone has the same meta teams, and it literally comes down to the AI using the right skill before the opponent. I would not recommend starting this game just for PvP. One aspect I think Blue Archive does get right is its story and setting. Seeing this game from a glance just makes you ask a lot of questions like, why are there cute high school girls carrying guns? Why does everyone have a halo? Why are there literal vending machines and convenience stores filled with guns, grenades, and bullets? If any of that sounds intriguing, I want to provide a bit more context and info. First off, Blue Archive takes place in the futuristic world of Kivotos, a giant city filled with different academies, and the player character, called Sensei, is an outsider who was chosen by a mysterious, missing president of the General Student Council. Being an outsider seems to matter because, as you've seen, Kivotos is a place where guns and tanks are just commonplace things, and the students do not seem to take life-threatening injuries like you would expect. Really, a lot of Blue Archive just expects the player to accept what is happening and move past it. I think that's fine though, because Blue Archive's main story has a less serious tone to it, and the world is incredibly bright, which is showcased by the artwork backdrops and pretty much all the characters. The students themselves have super brightly colored gun camos, and the game very much knows what it is. I've completed Volume 1, Chapter 1 and 2 of the main story. It actually takes a bit of playtime to get to the end, but I actually was hooked into what was shown and I wanted more when I was forced to complete more main missions. I think this opening story perfectly showcases Blue Archive's storytelling goals. It has a lot of humor and lighthearted slice of life type moments, but throws in some serious plot that asks more questions about the world itself. In Volume 1, the main focus is on the Abydos Academy, but this school literally only has 5 students called the Foreclosure Task Force, and they're trying to pay off a massive debt that the school has accrued. I'm not even joking, but one of their plans involves robbing a black market bank. It's a wild ride. Throughout the volume, you uncover more about Abydos' debt and are introduced to more student groups such as the Team Rocket-esque Problem Solver 68 and the more serious Gehenna Prefect team. While there is a ton of fun throughout, they do make references to more serious plot points like certain students being stronger mystics and the idea of being an adult. Sensei is considered an adult, but apparently the concept of an adult is a bit different in the Blue Archive world, and it's a theme that gets brought up a couple times. For the future, I'm not sure how serious Blue Archive intends to get, but I have heard good things about the stories, so that's reassuring. Now in terms of localization, so far I like what Nexon's been doing. Not a lot of text errors, and the game itself makes a lot of modern day cultural references while being pretty self-aware. For example, Sensei literally gets scolded for spending too much on gacha games and buying figures. Sadly, Blue Archive is not fully voiced, despite the prologue getting that special treatment. I will say that the story is also super digestible, and the writers did a good job at that. It's not super overwhelming, and it's definitely not like Arknights, which can get a bit long. In terms of side stories, Blue Archive has a fun system for bond/relationship points. Improving relationships with students get you Momotalk conversations, which are in the form of modern day text messages. These will unlock regular individual stories, which are very typical slice of life stuff, and at certain levels you are rewarded with a fun live 2D cutscene, which can be used on your home screen. Not gonna lie, these are pretty fun to collect, and they come with their own music tracks. Sadly, not everyone has one so far, but I've heard JP has gone back and added more. Last thing I want to mention about these side stories is that this is very much a waifu game. While it is mostly wholesome, cute girls doing cute things stuff, certain characters are more suggestive than others. Some of the live 2D visuals are for sure a bit too spicy to have on in public. I'll leave it at that if you want to do some extra research. I mentioned earlier that Blue Archive is not fully voiced, and while that may be disappointing for some, there is one positive in this in that the game has an absolutely amazing soundtrack to fill the void. The music is incredibly catchy and also fits the tone of the game extremely well. To match the world of Kivotos, there is a lot of electronic music and a lot of upbeat and bopping tracks. The startup screen soundtrack is especially fitting for the game overall, and there are also a lot of fun tracks for the humorous moments, with more techno and dubstep for the battles. I cannot stop listening to the OST, and it's a huge plus in my books. Now, since Blue Archive is a gacha game, let's talk about the gacha system. For those familiar with Precone, Blue Archive basically follows the same system. You got banners with raid ups for certain units and a 200 summon spark. This was actually 300 in Japan, but global started with the update. It can be pretty brutal if you don't have enough to spark, so be aware of that, and it does not carry over to other banners. We do have some future sites since we seem to be following Japan, however global has already switched things up by combining some banners. So far, it's been one new character and one launch 3-star that was on a banner to sort of get rid of dead weeks that were in Japan. In terms of duplicates, you get a currency called Eligma. Yes, that's its actual name. You can use Eligma to purchase LFs, which are like character shards in Precone. You can use LFs to ascend units to 3 stars, getting you new skills, and 4 and 5 stars will grant you more stats. Now, one really nice quality of life update Global started with is that duplicates will also give the units LFs. If you summon raid up duplicates, you even get more LFs as a bonus. For example, I got 3 Hoshinos on the starting banner. A duplicate Hoshino gave me 100 Hoshino LFs, which let me get her to 4 stars immediately, and the third copy put me in range to 5-star her very fast. The rates are not amazing in this game, but if you wail hard or you're blessed by the RNG gods for a certain banner, you can get a ton of LFs through dupes. Now, like Precone, you can get LFs by doing hard mode mission farming. This is limited to certain units, but for free-to-play players, this is a way to get more LFs for ascending. The game shops and events also give character Ellis and even Enigma. Blue Archive is a game where you're pretty much going to get all the 1-star and 2-star characters if you summon enough. Then it's just about getting new 3-stars. Now let's talk about alts. Blue Archive has no outfits or costumes like Arknights. Instead, each alt is their own character, with some having different roles and damage types. As far as I know, you can use multiple versions of a character on the same team at the same time. Blue Archive also has new permanent 3-stars and limited time ones as well. Strangely enough, even though limited time units are generally seasonal events like summer banners or the bunny chaser event, certain units from those banners are in the permanent pool. It seems to be a case-by-case basis. In terms of collabs, there has been one collab, and it was recently with Hatsune Miku in Japan. Hopefully Global gets the same treatment. To end the gacha section, I'm gonna say that having banner foresight is nice, but it also means there are certain units which are highly recommended to get for meta-oriented players. If you're one of those players, you may want to do some research. Next, I want to talk about some of the things I dislike about the game to give some warnings to new players. First off, I mentioned it earlier, but PvP is not great in Blue Archive. Obviously, most gacha game PvP modes are pay to win by nature, but not even whales can control the little randomness in this game. The game actually will follow in order when selecting skills, moving to the one to the right. However, at the very beginning of a match, it selects a skill at random. This mechanic is amplified by a character called Shun, who grants skill points at the start of the fight. She will jumpstart your skill points, and if you get a good unit skill, you can delete someone immediately, and the fight is potentially already over. Essentially, higher PvP fights involve whoever can get Shun to jumpstart the right skill, and if your team decides to heal the full HP tank instead of using a damage skill, well, then that's not great. There is a deeper level to PvP, including things like positioning, but if you lose the RNG battle for skills, then it may not matter at all. I'm nowhere near the top of my PvP bracket with none of the meta PvP units, and every day is pretty much a struggle when I play that mode, but Blue Archive doesn't put as much stress on the rewards for high ranking PvP. It is still important, but if you're a casual player, I don't think it should kill the whole game for you. Next, I want to talk about the startup loading times. I thought it was just my phone being a potato, but apparently Blue Archive has atrocious startup times on pretty much any device. Someone even showcased them loading Genshin Impact faster, which is just insane. I'm not sure why this happens, but the game takes forever to start, and then that leads to my next downside in that it also crashes a decent amount. It's not off-putting, but I would say it happens multiple times per day, and combined with the super long startup time, it can be annoying. I have also seen a lot of issues with emulators. If you want to play that way, you may need to do some troubleshooting there. Luckily, at least you get to listen to the great music while you wait to get back in. To end the video, I wanted to showcase and talk about some fun things we may not have gone over. First off, there's a cafe which acts like your passive income for free stamina and money. You can craft cafe furniture, and you can earn more stamina by having a higher comfort level, sort of like Arknights' base system. It is much simpler though, and sadly at the moment the students don't really interact with the furniture much. Apparently certain students can interact with certain furniture, but it's a bit limiting at the moment. Hopefully this can be improved. I didn't get to touch on this much, but there are some great animations and effects for these skills in this game. Very fun stuff, and it's extremely satisfying to watch Hina blast entire waves or Mashido get the bonus damage on her snipe. From looking at future characters, the animations just keep getting better, and there is even a unit who can summon an entire tank to the battlefield. Another fun thing is that some of the enemies you fight are just hilarious. I don't know why, but there is a mode where you have to fight Power Rangers Sushi Men, which have great music to accompany them, by the way. They even form a Megazord, which is actually one of the raid bosses. One fun thing to do in the menus is that you can actually head pat everyone. This even works on the live 2D home screens. In the team formation screens, you can pick up your units to move them around, and each one has a personalized reaction. It's a very cute little detail. Something that is really neat is that Arona, the AI assigned to Sensei, will actually say your username. You have to put in the right pronunciation, but I don't think anyone expects a game to say their name, and it's a fun little addition. Last, everyone needs to find someone that loves them as much as Nonomi loves her minigun. She was one of the first characters I saw for Blue Archive when it got teased years ago, and the juxtaposition of cute anime girl with giant machine gun caught my attention. In-game, Nonomi has some of the best animations. While waiting, she just pats her minigun like a pet, and her victory screen involves her hugging it very cutely. She really encapsulates this strange game world very well. At the end of the day, Blue Archive strives to be a fun experience, and I think so far it hits that nail on the head. Personally, the gameplay has enough interesting features to keep me invested, and the world building is very well done to draw you in. It does not take itself super seriously, which is nice, but still leaves enough crumbs to make you question what is going on. The main story so far has a nice blend of humor and adds more to the world building, while doing a nice job at introducing more characters you can actually use. Volume 1 is great at focusing on the foreclosure task force, but a lot of players also got intrigued by Adu, who is just a great character as well. The music in the game is on point and is extremely addicting to listen to. Very strong pro for a gacha game. I think Blue Archive Global has done well so far. I'm not sure if they plan to completely catch up to Japan in terms of content, but it seems to be on some kind of accelerated schedule. We've at least gotten quality of life updates early, which is nice, including changes to events such as the one going on right now. I do think the game can improve in certain aspects like the cafe or perhaps the startup load times. PvP does not feel very rewarding due to the RNG aspects, but it's not a main focus of the game, so I think if you don't take it too seriously, it's passable. Regardless, I think Blue Archive is a nice game if you like the slow but steady progression style. That will probably change when you hit max level and clear all the main story content, but it's been a nice ride so far. We'll see how the endgame holds up in the future, but I'm looking forward to updates, especially for the main story. Check out the game if you're interested. It is free to play, but like any gacha game, be careful when spending real money. If anything, please check out Blue Archive's soundtrack. It is a fantastic fit for the game. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.